Happy Friday. So one of our flips failed. It didn't sell. We probably about 15-20 grand negative on it now. Let's talk about it. So shortly after getting out of our remodeling company, we wanted to sort of recover. And over the last several years, one of the ways that we've always boosted our income with a big influx is picking up a flip or two. So we did that. We were familiar with it. We found one right up the street from us. And it's one of those situations, I don't know if y'all have ever experienced this, where all the stars didn't align. In fact, they fell apart. We sort of forced it to happen anyway. We got into the project, paid a little bit more than we should have, and we knew that. We got into the project and found problem after problem that we were not expecting, and immediately went over budget by like 10 grand right out the gate. We didn't get too worried. That's not the first time we've gone over budget on a project. I mean, that's pretty common. You almost build that into the budget to go over budget. So that's fine. But we get the project done, and we're real happy with the way it turns out, right? And at the end of it, I think we were about 10 grand over, you know, our total allocated budget. So we put it up for sale. And right now, in the past, we'd put it up for sale, you know, a couple, 2-3 weeks, we'd be under contract, always. Right now, the market is just slow for sellers. And we don't use our own money for these flips. We borrow money, and it's at a pretty high interest rate. So every day that we're not selling or not doing something with it, we're accumulating a pretty healthy interest fee. So we don't have a lot of time with these properties. We got to turn them and burn them. And it's set for maybe 2 months. And we just didn't get any offers, barely got any showings. First time that's ever happened to us. So we were kind of freaking out. But you know what? There's always something else you can do. So we pivoted. Just so happened that when we purchased this property, we actually designed it to be an Airbnb. We planned on selling it to another investor that would utilize it as an Airbnb because of its location, the way we upfitted it. We made it really, really swanky. Right near the university, right near downtown. That was what we had in our head. And so I think I've mentioned on a couple videos recently that we've got an Airbnb. Well, guess what? This is how we got it. So what we did is we took another $5,000 or $6,000. We said, you know what? We're just gonna do something different. We pulled it off the market, and we put more money into it. Bought all the furniture, the decorations, plates, and cups, and coffee makers, and dishes, and you know, cookware, towels, curtains, cleaning supplies, and washers and dryers. I mean, we had to completely outfit it for somebody to live there. It took us about a week and a half, and we posted it on Airbnb. And we don't limit our Airbnb. If you know anything about Airbnb, a lot of people will limit it to 2 nights minimum or 3-night minimum. We were like, we just gotta get some money rolling in, so it doesn't matter. We don't care. We didn't limit it. Well, we have been booked. It's only been like a month, but we've been booked every single day with the exception of one day. Solid. A lot of one-night stays. Couple over the weekend. A few people from the university. Some people, their air went out. Some people were there for a surprise birthday event. We've had just a traveling contractor, all kinds of people. I never really knew the kind of people that would be staying in this one night stay option has actually turned into a really huge blessing because we stay booked up. But we still have that borrowed money from our investor, and it's a pretty high interest rate. So what we had to do, typically when we pull money from our investors, they anticipate, you know, a set amount of time for us to purchase, renovate, and sell. Normally it's around the 6-month mark, and usually we can get it done before that. But I had to call and have a conversation. I said, hey man, you know, it's not selling for what we want. I mean, it would sell, but you know, we wouldn't have made any money. That's not why we're in business. We're in business to make money. I told him what we ran into, and I said, can you hang out with us, give us some time to let the rental get stabilized so that we can go to a bank and refinance, and we can pull you out. And he agreed. We were also able to negotiate a slightly lower interest rate, and we just pay the interest only payments each month. So that way we can actually cash flow. Can't guarantee that would work for everybody in any situation, but we work with some really good people. We've built really good relationships over the years, and he trusts us and we trust him, and it generates some passive income for him, and it gives us an opportunity to get this property stabilized so that we can get it under a traditional bank loan. We've done probably 30 flips, I think, over the course of our career. Not once have we had this situation. We've never lost. We've come close to breaking even. I mean, there's been a couple that we didn't do great on, you know, made 5, maybe 10 grand. But other than that, all of them have been successful. And we've ran into issues on all of them as far as the projects and the renovation goes. It's not an easy game. We have always gone over budget. We always run into unexpected problems, delays, what have you. So please don't take this as flipping as an easy game. It's not. But we've just always done well. This is the first time that we've ran into this issue. But we've made the pivot, and I think actually long term it's going to end up being better, because this property is like 5 minutes up the road from where we live, so it's easy for us to manage. We love the location. We love how the upfit turned out. My wife did all the decorating and had a ball with that, and it's beautiful. And we actually are looking forward to having this property long term. Down the road, I mean, who knows? It may end up being a place that we can put our parents, you know, as they get older and need a place to stay. Maybe a place for our son or daughter to stay, you know, when they move out, they can rent. Hey, who knows? But it'll be ours. As I mentioned in a past video, we sold off all of our long-term rentals when we decided to get out of the other businesses. So this is the first property that we'll have in our new start. So, a loss that turned into a silver lining, right? What I've experienced with all of this kind of stuff that we've done over the years, from the remodeling company to the water damage company to the investment company to the retail shop, is nothing goes as planned. You think it's going to take a certain amount of time or cost a certain amount of money, never works out that cleanly. It's always more. So you have got to learn to be flexible, nimble, and understand that you're going to have to kind of think on the fly sometimes, and you got to just make adjustments and keep it moving. And that's okay, because oftentimes what you imagine and what you planned, the end result is more likely than not actually a better. So anyway, that's how we got our first Airbnb. That's also how we lost on our on our flip for the first time. Kind of interesting. You just never know what's going to happen. By the way, I'm smoking an Aganorso. Let's see if you can see that. Corojo. It's not going to focus for me. Yeah, anyway. Really good stogie. Keeps going out on me. Talking too much. Little update. I am going out of town this coming week. We are taking a cruise for the very first time. We love traveling. My wife does all the planning, and but we've never done a cruise. We've always gone directly to wherever we want to visit, you know, and spent a week or however long at the actual location. Honestly, I've never had much interest in cruises. It just wasn't something that, I don't know, didn't seem that exciting to me. Hang on, let me get this going. Sometimes you got to get them stoked back up. There we go. I'm not really a resort guy. I mean, you know, I enjoy the pampering, the luxury of it, don't get me wrong, but when we go on vacation, we like to explore, we like to get out into whatever local community, whatever local culture, the nature, you know, explore, wilderness, whatever. I mean, that's what we do. We run around and try to see as much as we can possibly see. And with a cruise, you really don't get that much time at the destination. The cruise, my understanding anyway, is it's really all about the boat and just, you know, enjoying being on the boat. But my wife wants to try it, so she scheduled it and set it up. We're going on the Royal Caribbean to the Bahamas. Why not? Give it a try. So, looking forward to that. Taking my mom, 2 kids, and then me and the wife. I have 3 closings that all fell next week when we're out of town. So I've been running around this week making sure all my closings are situated to go smoothly while we're gone. I've got a buddy of mine. He closes on a property I sold for him. Another buddy of mine, he closes on a property he's buying. And then another couple that I worked with, they were for sale by owner, and they let me list, and now we're closing 3 properties while I'm out of town, and then I got 1 more that'll close when I get back in town. My cousin's house got sold for her, so that's good. And then in the meantime, this entire week, each day we've had a new guest, so we've had to clean the Airbnb. We got to clean it today. We got a new couple coming in tonight, so we'll have to clean it tomorrow. Another couple comes in tomorrow and Sunday, so we'll have to clean it again before we head out of town. We've lined up a cleaner to come in and manage it while we're gone. First time we've been gone since we started the Airbnb, so we had to make sure somebody was available to take care of it. And then we also got to line up my wife's business. On the weekends we run pretty hard with her table and chair rental business, so she's right now cleaning tables and chairs and getting loaded up to do hauling. She'll get everything delivered today. We'll probably pick most things up Sunday. She's lined up a guy to help out a little bit Monday, and then if she ends up with some rentals throughout the week, we've got a guy that'll show up and be able to handle that. So we had to get that lined up. On my side, I've had to get a partner agent of mine to show up and meet my clients at the closing table, so they're represented while I'm gone. Had to get her up to date on all the cases, introduce her to my clients, all that kind of fun stuff. Right now I'm on my way to make rounds to all my listings place eyes on them, make sure grass is mowed, air is where it needs to be. One of the things I've noticed that happens is a lot of times people will adjust the HVAC for some reason, or my clients, if they're not living in the place, they forget to mow. So I like to drop by and just make sure the grass looks good for when we have showings, things of this nature. Just check on things, make sure the house is in good shape. So a lot of moving parts. So we're running around today just trying to get all that kind of stuff situated. I already packed up my mobile office that I'll be carrying with me, in case we end up getting an offer on one of my listings while I'm out of town, or we have something going on with the Airbnb or whatever that we may need to do computer-wise while we're gone. Vacation is never just completely turned off as an entrepreneur. There's always something that's happening. When we used to go out of town as a contractor, we'd have a bunch of projects going on, and subs lined up and this and that. I mean, it took us probably 3 weeks to prepare to be gone for a week, just to make sure that everything would keep running smoothly while we were gone. And inevitably, the craziest stuff would happen as soon as we got gone. But that's part of it, right? It's just part of it. You roll the punches and you do the best you can, but you got to enjoy your life. If you want to take a trip, take a trip. You just do your best you can to prepare everything for while you're gone, and roll with the punches while you're there. And then you just manage it best you can when you get back. It's always a little chaotic when you get back, but that's okay. Kind of starting to ramble at this point, but that's okay. That's kind of why I do these videos. It's fun for me, just sharing a little bit about what we deal with, right? So I think the original point of this video was a loss on a flip house, right? And it's kind of turned into a bit of a ramble, but this is the kind of stuff we deal with, But here's one of the other factors. So we bought the house that's now an Airbnb, and at the same time, or a few weeks later, maybe a month later, we bought another one, and then about a week after that one, we bought a third one. Pretty much all in the same line, right? Well, because we went a little over budget on the first one, that stole money from the second one. Well, then that stole money from the third one, so we end up short on budget on the other two. So that's kind of something that we haven't really dealt with much. Normally we do these one at a time, max 2 at a time. But when one gets over budget, I mean, you only borrow so much money up front. We don't typically go back and borrow more if we over budget, because we don't want to accumulate the interest. So we got to figure out where we can save on money with these projects now. One of them I've since finished, and it's on the market right now. Hopefully it'll sell soon. The other one we just got through rough inspections. They're starting to sheetrock right now. More than likely we'll need the other one to sell to provide a little extra funding to finish the third one. Because again, that kind of sequence of going over budget culminated, and it's going to hit that third property the hardest. And we don't like to pull extra money once we've already funded a project. Thankfully, I'll have my 4 closings. That's been my target since I've started in real estate, is 4 closings a month, or 4 listings a month. Last month I did not have any, but the month prior I had 6, so it floated us through. This month I've got 4. Next month, more than likely, I will not have any, unless I can get one of these other ones under contract in the next couple days. So it's a lot like construction in that term. You get a bunch of projects going, you get all these deposits and cash flow, then you hit a lull. Same thing is happening in real estate, but it'll balance out as I keep pushing. If I can continuously get my 4 listings every month, there'll always be something closing, because there'll be always something going under contract. but it takes time to get that cycle and that pipeline built up. So that's kind of what I'm working on. It's really kind of bad timing to be going out of town, but again, you got to live your life. So anyway, appreciate you guys listening, and you know, hopefully you do find some value in this kind of stuff. Again, we are going to try to keep making videos just explaining some of the things that we're dealing with, you know, the real nitty-gritty, right? I mean, this is completely unedited, me just telling you what we're dealing with. So guys, until next time, I am going to sign off of here. I'm pulling up to this property. I got to go in there and check it out. So, ciao.